Well, good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. So glad you could join me today. We're looking at the book of Acts. And in the book of Acts, it describes the life of Paul and describes his journeys. And we've been with Paul through his salvation. We've been with Paul through his calling by Barnabas going and getting him in Antioch and him being sent out on a missionary journey, and then it records the second missionary journey, then the third missionary journey. And Paul's collected an offering for the saints there in Jerusalem. He delivers the offering. He goes to the temple, and he's not causing any trouble. He's gone with some Jewish Christians that have made a vow. And there were some Jews from the Asia Minor who saw him, are mad that he's at the temple from some of the things he said about Gentiles, God accepting Gentiles, and so they're mad. So they try to kill him, literally try to kill him. He's rescued by the Roman guard there, and then he's put on trial by the Sanhedrin. There is a plot to kill him on the way to the Sanhedrin, so Paul's nephew warns them about it, so he's sent to Caesarea, which is out on the Mediterranean coast. That's where the Roman governors lived. They did not live in Jerusalem, but they lived in Caesarea, and they had a palace out there. I think Herod also had a palace out in Caesarea, and they were out there, and he's brought before Felix, and Felix has not judged him. They have brought him there a few days afterwards. The high priest came with his people and apparently an attorney to represent their case. And we pick it up in verse 22. Then Felix, who was well acquainted with the way. Again, in the early church, they're referred to more as the way, people of the way, than as Christians. I find it interesting that we have swapped. We did find that they were referred to as Christians in Antioch, but they were most normally referred to as people of the way. He adjourned the proceedings, and when Lysias, the commander, comes, he said, "I will decide your case." He ordered the centurion to keep Paul under guard, but to give him some freedom and permit his friends to take care of his needs. The Roman prison system back then, they did not take care of your needs. The only thing you got from them is maybe some bread and water, literally. And if you got anything else to eat, if you had anything to wear, your family or friends had to furnish it for you. You went without. In verse 24, several days later, Felix came with his wife Drusilla, who was a Jewess. So apparently Felix, the Roman governor, had married a Jewish woman. He sent for Paul and listened to him as he spoke about faith in Christ Jesus. As Paul discoursed on righteousness, self-control, and the judgment to come, Felix was afraid and said, "That's enough for now." So he starts hearing Paul preach about Jesus, and he talks about how you need to live right, you need to live a righteous life, you need to be self-controlled. There's a judgment upon how you live, and so he just didn't want to hear it. So he said, "You must leave." He said, "When I find it convenient, I will send for you." At the same time, he was hoping that Paul would offer him a bribe, so he sent for him frequently and talked with him. So Felix was hoping that Paul would bribe him. Apparently a lot of the prisoners would bribe to get out of there, but Paul was going to have none of that. He wasn't going to ask his followers and all to take up a collection so that he could bribe his way out of jail. Now listen to this. When 2 years had passed, Felix was succeeded by Porcius Festus. But because Felix wanted to grant a favor to the Jews, he left Paul in prison. So we find out from here in Acts that Paul is kept over 2 years at the prison in Caesarea. And let me remind you, I have a picture of where they think it was. So there's a picture of where they think Paul was kept in prison. Would have been in that general vicinity anyway. And so he was kept there as prisoner over 2 years. He had done nothing wrong. I mean, and obviously the Roman governor figured out that he had done nothing wrong. I mean, the thing he did was go to the temple area, which he's Jew. He had every right to do that. The things that they accused him of were not true. He was not inciting a riot. He was not causing trouble. He just simply went there to worship, and people attacked him. But he was there for over 2 years. And there's going to be another governor come in, and he's going to get another hearing, going to get another judgment. Felix keeps him in jail, according to Luke, just simply because he wants to please the Jews who don't like Paul, and so they're happy that he's being kept in prison. So he makes them happy. And so we'll pick up the story with another court proceeding tomorrow. And I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.